Yo, what's up? Today we're gonna explore one of the scariest weapons of World War II, the flame tanks. Currently, Enlisted offers 3 of those, one in the normal tech tree for Americans and one each for Germany and Soviets as premium vehicles. Since they are so rare on the battlefields that many Enlisted players haven't seen them, they wonder how do you use them, how do you protect yourselves from them, and should you get one yourself? Let's answer those questions. Regarding their strength, the answer is very simple. They're extremely strong, especially the Soviet and the German ones. Their power becomes obvious once you compare them to Flametroopers. Flametroopers using Flamethrowers Enlisted are restricted to mid and high BR only. Reason for that is, Flamethrowers are a devastating weapon. They are the only weapon, held by normal infanterists, that can easily, instantly deal with huge amounts of enemies without them being able to fight back. But at least they can still be easily stopped by a normal bullet or by some very creative and smart countermeasures, but flame tanks don't have all of these weaknesses. Every strength a flamethrower has, meaning lots of fuel, specific distance of the jet, and devastating killing effect, is amplified extremely by flamethrower tanks. Flamethrower tanks offer longer jets, so you can spray at further away targets than a flamethrower. They offer much more fuel than a normal infantry flametrooper can carry. They, unlike flamethrowers, instantly kill once you touch an enemy, so there's no 1.5 seconds delay until you start burning, and there's no 1 to 2 seconds time where you're still alive and be able to shoot back or clap out your flames. No, you instantly die. And no matter in which direction you spray, every enemy instantly dies. There's no chance of fighting back. Combine this with the fact that flame tanks can shoot through most wooden structures in the game. Not only buildable structures, but also obstacles scattered around the map and even solid wooden walls. This means using either the German or Soviet flame tanks on the low BR Moscow maps will give you an environment with tons of wooden structures like all of the wooden barracks or wooden huts or wooden walls where you can easily kill all the enemies behind. But even dealing with objectives that are made out of solid stone or steel, as long as they have a door or a window or some little opening where you can shoot through, as long as you just spray your jet through this opening, the jet will spread out inside the building and destroy everything inside. So not only are flame tanks a stronger version of one of the already strongest soldier classes in the game, but they also give you the ability to use them on low BR environments, where you usually cannot use flame units. And the last advantage compared to flamethrowers that flame tanks give you is that whereas you normally have to run towards the objective and hope you survive, or try to flank a point and still hope you get close enough to spray, flame tanks are highly mobile and protect you from normal weapons. Meaning everything under a heavy machine gun nest won't penetrate you. And that's the reason why they're so devastating and why using them will give you 10 to 30 kills on a regular basis. As long as the enemies aren't perfectly prepared and are perfectly seeing and expecting what's coming at them, they don't have any chance to fight back. Once you start spraying into enemies, everyone will die. And once you're finished, the whole objective will be cleared and everything around it too. Do they have any weaknesses? Yes, they have. Main weakness is their thin armor. While being enough to protect you from normal gunfire, anything 12-13mm and higher will easily penetrate. So unlike normal tanks that can afford taking some hits, it's crucial with flame tanks to sneakily approach a target and exposing yourself as late as possible. This tactic, successfully executed, gives your enemies no time at all to react. And once you're in range, and the range is surprisingly far, you start spraying your jet into the enemies, and here's the important tactical part, you never stop. Reason for that is, as long as you're spraying, and obviously you only need 1 or 2 seconds to spray in one direction, then everything is dead, and then you can traverse your turret left or right and spray into another direction. You always want to constantly click spraying, so everything that's even remotely close to you will die. So the enemies don't have any chance to throw grenades at you, to switch weapons and shoot at you with anti-tank weapons, or to drop anti-tank mines, things like that. As long as everything is burning, as long as they are constantly attacked by your jet, they don't have any times to react, and your tank stays safe. With this tactic, not only can you make sure that the objective will be completely empty, and also everything around the objective, but thanks to your reach, which is beyond 40 meters, you can even clear out the flanks. You can shoot upwards into windows so enemies don't just snipe you or your teammates, and you will have the mobility to drive around the objective and then shoot everything behind the objective. And if there's nothing on the objective, just shoot on the ground. So once enemies come within the next 10-20 seconds, well, they will have to make the decision, do they want to run over burning ground, or do they want to go around it, which will take them even more time. This is the big secret to using flame tanks. Do not ever use them like normal tanks, or even remotely like that. Instead, use them like a berserker who's rampaging through a line of enemies and destroys everything in sight. While doing so, obviously stay mobile, keep driving around, and use your turret traverse. The German Flammpanzer comes with a turret traverse angle of 180 degrees, and the Soviet version comes with even 270 degrees. So even without moving your hull, you can flame targets around your tank. After you emptied your fuel tanks, you will have amassed 15 to 20 kills on average, and the objective will be safe. From that point onwards, there are two strategies you can apply. Either you rely on your machine gun, which is not strong, but still, by getting yourself into a good flanking position and then cutting off the enemies from their spawn points to the objective, which can be very effective and give your team all the time they need to accomplish their targets. Or you just block the entrances with your tank and leave the tank and keep on playing as infantry. Of course, you can also alternatively return to the resupply point and stock up on new fuel and then go back to the objective and keep on fighting as a flamethrower tank, though this usually takes forever and it's much more fun and also more effective to keep on using your machine gun or your tanker crew as infanterists. The last and by far hardest skill regarding flame tanks is to get a good feeling when to actually pick them. Because selecting the squad in an unsuitable moment where you cannot safely reach the objective and start flaming will just lead to an instant death and a waste of tickets. This means an experienced flame tank commander patiently waits for the perfect opportunity to whip out his secret weapon and wreak havoc among the enemies. Since flame tanks are basically a short-range weapon only, they are competing hard with the normal tanks. Meaning, if you only have one tank slot, you will have to choose, do you want a long-range weapon like a normal tank, or do you want a short-range weapon like a flame tank. Therefore, it's highly recommendable to have additional squad slots, so you can always have a normal tank for long-range engagements and a flame tank for extra spice on your short-range combat. Last piece of advice regarding their psychological impact on the battlefield, it's huge. Similar to in real life, where even the usually highly motivated Japanese soldiers started fleeing once they saw Soviet flame tanks approaching in Manchuria. In Enlisted, you have two reasons why enemies will be much strongly weakened when they see you using flame tanks. First, all the players who already experienced flame tanks will be instantly stressed out, and all the other players, after seeing the first jet of flames, will think, alright, I can deal with it maybe, but 1 second later the whole battlefield is burning. If you use the flame tank with the strategies that I recommended. And after that, yeah, they will also be terrified for the rest of their enlisted playing life. And the second reason, flamethrowers as a weapon are in general highly hated by players to go up against. So seeing someone shooting ridiculously long jets of fire will instantly trigger them, leading to widespread panic among your enemies and to a much easier workday for your tank crew. For the end, let's take a deeper look at the 3 flame tanks in the game. First we start with the German Panzer II Flamm, also known as Flamingo. Very funny name, though only used after the war, not during the war. So you won't find a single document from the time of the war calling him like that. Though after the war everyone started calling him this way, especially the Soviets. Seems like they had lots of fun with this tank. Now looking at the stats, it's the standard Panzer II stats. So the armament is on the weaker side for low BR. The armament perfectly fits BR1, though the 2 flame jet sprayers definitely don't fit BR1 when it comes to power level. You have enough machine gun ammunition to be able to hide in a good position and spray for a long time. And the fuel, well, the fuel is almost 4 times as much as that of a normal flamethrower soldier. So yeah, Go figure, you will have more than enough fuel to kill dozens of enemies. Next we have the Soviet version, the HT-130. Why HT-130? Very simple. These tanks were based on the T-26 hull. And the H stands for chemical and T for tank. So what about this one? Well, the armor isn't as good as the German one. It's slower, though in-game you don't feel that much difference regarding the speed. Crew is the same of 3. 3 crew members means if one of them dies, you will be on either driving or shooting, but not both, which is bad. But still, in that case, just switch the seats and keep on shooting. It's not really useful to repair it while under fire. You can still get lots of kills even without the mobility. You only have one jet with much less shots, though the shots are overall stronger. So it's not much of a problem that you don't have 2 spraying cannons as with the German version. And for the end we have the American iteration of the flame tanks, the M3 Stuart with Flamethrower. You can find it very early on in the American research tree in the Stuart folder. Looking at the stats, on paper it's significantly better than the other two, though in real life, or when it comes to handling in-game, it's actually worse. Reason for that is the Flamethrower is much weaker, and while you're shooting your Flamethrower you will also automatically shoot your cannon. This comes with all types of issues, ranging from always giving away your position if you try to sneak up somewhere, to very often accidentally hitting your own teammates. But the biggest problem is you're not as effective. Even if you're on close-up, you won't get as many kills with this Flamethrower as with the other one. And there's a huge difference whether you rush in and start berserking and get 15 or 20 kills, or whether you only get something like 6 and 7 kills and then get blown up. So yeah, overall not as strong, though the advantage of the American Flamethrower tank is it's a much better normal tank, because you actually have a cannon, which is good on BR1 and still okay at BR2. You actually have some armor. You even have more armor on the backside than the Soviet Flamethrower tank is on the front, which is ridiculous. And you're extremely fast. You're extremely fast, and you have 2 machine guns compared to only 1, and you can count 2 machine guns like half of a Flamethrower. So yeah, on short range, spraying machine guns and Flamethrowers actually becomes much better. Alright, that's it. Now you know everything about the Flamethrower tanks in Enlisted, especially its most famous iteration, the Flamingo. Let me know how you like using these tanks and what your experiences were with them. And until next time, goodbye.